Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Inside the Score. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a suite I wrote for the feature film Stealing the Show. Alright, so now let's look at the nuts and bolts inside the score to see how it works. Let's real quick look at the beginning. So that's the main theme right there. It's led by the piano. And then some jazzy brass. Now, a thing to look at here is how the piano was done. Heist music and music for heist films, rather, is fairly stereotypical. There's a very specific sound for heist and spy films. So we had to come up with a way to make sure that the music for this film was unique to this film and didn't hearken too much to other films. And we did that by affecting the piano. So we have a normal piano here. But then what we have is an affected piano going underneath it, which sounds like this. It's very subtle, but it sets the piano apart. What we did is we ran the piano through, I think, a bass amp and a flanger So the bass amp is distorting it, and the flanger is sending the signal frantically left and right. And it created a really unique sound for it and made it a bit more gritty and just exciting because it's something you've not really heard before. If we keep on going and we look at the percussion, which most of these 440 tracks are percussion. Let's go ahead and look at it all. So the percussion just has things going all over the place. There's stomping, there's clapping, there's snapping, there are wood blocks, triangles, a normal trap set, an 808. The 808 was put in there because all of the protagonists in the film, or almost all of them, are teenagers. So I wanted to put something, a sound that kind of belonged to hip hop and music that's fairly recent. If we listen to it all, you also hear a drum set in there that we had. That's just adding a lot of excitement with the drums. If we keep on going, let's look at the kind of the bad guy music for the film. So I used the flute as one of the main instruments for the antagonists in the film because the flute is used a lot in heist music, but I chose the bass flute because that's a bit different. It still has the feeling of a heist film, but the bass flute is just a totally different sound. So it brought some uniqueness to how the villain music sounded. If we keep going, you'll hear that the groove and the percussion never really stops. That. And so even if the percussion comes down, it's still fast and it's still exciting. And while you might not hear it per se, you definitely feel it. So let's keep going into more of the emotional, character-driven part of the music. So this was the most difficult part of the music because we had to find a way to keep the quirkiness we just set up with the main theme in the emotional side so it still sounded cohesive. And one of the big ways we did that was kind of using flutes as a rhythmic device, as you will hear here. So these are just flutes doing a kind of arpeggio thing with a delay on them. That makes them a bit more rhythmic. And then later on, they're combined with this computer pluck sound that we made specifically for the film. So this computer pluck sound we made because a lot of the scenes happen in an arcade, and one of the mentor figures for the protagonists works at an arcade. So we wanted that arcade feeling in the film. And so this sound we specifically made for the film. This isn't a stock sound. We came up with it as sort of this kind of 8-bit sound. But when it's doubled with orchestral instruments, it brings a maturity as well. And so that really helped keep some of that quirkiness in the emotional side. So let's keep going. And so right there, all of a sudden, we have an entire orchestra playing. We haven't had anything close to a whole orchestra playing. And we did that kind of on purpose. Number one is because the film is pretty unique, so it needed a unique sound. So the orchestra was used pretty sparingly. You heard in the bad guy music, it was pretty low. It was just like basses and chilly. Here, we finally brought it in, and you can hear how the score immediately expands in its size and scope when it comes in. And I wanted the ending to just be super fun, as if you're hearing a band having an absolute blast, because the movie is fun, it's exciting, it's weird, and so I wanted the ending of the suite to showcase that with just the band going nuts. Now, one more thing to look at is the ostinato that goes underneath the main theme. I kind of got this from the movie How to Train Your Dragon, actually. And because the main theme it's pretty bold. And so it meant that it would be hard to put underneath scenes where it needed to be subtle. But this is where this constant ostinato and a bass guitar came into play. And so I used that so that could slide in underneath some scenes that needed to be more subtle. So there you have it. There is Inside the Score for The Suite in Stealing the Show. The movie is currently making its round through various film festivals, and after it makes its festival rounds, it will be released for people to be able to watch in their homes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe for other tips and looks inside how film music is made. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.